Hey, Mark, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing fantastic. I just did a podcast interview with, let's call him the Beard Guy. His name is actually Norm Farrar, but he's commonly known as the Beard Guy.
You're just saying that because you just grew a beard,
I
right?
just grew a beard, but he puts mine to shame. Mine is like a quarter of an inch in all sorts
If,
of different colors. His is 18 inches long. I'm not kidding you. It's funny because I met him in Cancun at the Illuminati Mastermind event, and it sounds really, really glamorous. It wasn't. We were inside the entire time, just so you know, because you paid for me to go, so thank you. But it was inside the whole time. But Norm approaches and he says hello, and he's big guy, shaven, 18-inch beard, and kind of just calm, cool, collected. And as soon as he started talking, I knew that, this was something special, and he was something special. So he does, what do we got? About $15 million in revenue with an e-commerce business. He has 30 VAs, and he has SOPs in place for absolutely everything. And he works from home, and he travels all over the country, going to different events and speaking and things of this nature. So for anybody listening that thinks, oh my God, I'm having trouble, A, finding VAs, B, keeping them, C, getting them to do a great job, Norm is the guy to listen to, talk to, because he gives every tool and app that he uses for SOPs and talks about it throughout the entire interview.
all right, so I've got a special mission for anyone listening to this or watching it. But if you're listening to this, I want you to go to our YouTube page and look up this interview and leave in the comments below who has the better beard, Joe or Norm. I think I already know the answer to it. But when it comes to to SOPs, this is something that we talk about all the time for people. I have another podcast. I don't know what order these are going to appear in, but I have one with somebody who did just that. He put in place SOPs for his entire business as well. And it adds value to the business. I'm super excited about the links. I actually looked at the show notes for this already, and I've been taking some of the notes from it as well because it's hard to do these SOPs. So I'm super excited for it, and I'm ready to get into it right away.
Look, the more you and I do this, the more we do this at Quiet Light, the bigger the businesses get, and the more people are putting their life savings on the line. Part of our client interviews are about not just the business, but the people behind the business and what shape they've left it in, right? So SOPs, I think you just nailed it on the head. It brings value. It adds value to the business. It makes life easier. It brings the workload down. And it's intangible in many ways because it's not on the profit and loss statement, but it absolutely adds value. And it may keep people a little bit more sane than they normally would be. So I think it's a great approach, and Norm really details it in great detail.
I've noticed a trend with some of the advice that we give people that are looking to sell their businesses and want to increase the value of their business. A lot of what we tell people to do is to do the things that they don't need to do if they're just going to hang on to the business forever, right? People don't keep track of the books really, really closely because they feel like they have a good sense of what their numbers are. Usually they don't, and they're surprised when they see it. People don't put together SOPs because they feel like they know their processes already. They don't see the need for it. But the lesson that I've taken away from this, from just 10 years of doing this, is when you put in place SOPs, when you do your books, when you do some of these things that are required to prepare your business for sale, it actually makes owning the business way easier and way better for everybody. So even if you're not looking to sell your business, these are still really good steps to implement in any business.
I agree 100%. You just may keep it a little bit longer and let it grow and have a bigger value someday. And what the third pillar of sellable business is what, Mark?
Transferability. It's got to be transferable.
SOPs Absolutely. Help with that in the transfer and training and transition of the business for that time period after closing. It'll make your life a lot easier.
Well, let's learn from somebody who's doing this with a $15 million a year business. That sounds exciting.
Let's do it. Hey, Norm, welcome to the Quiet Light Podcast.
Hey, thanks, Joe. I'm glad to be here.
It's good to see you. Thank you for inspiring me to grow a beard. I'll never look as good as you do, but it looks great, man.
Well, you're catching up.
I've got about a year and a half to go, I think.
Oh, yeah. Well, who knows? I don't know if you saw, but I did catch it on fire the other day, and I lost probably about a year's worth of growth in the middle. Yeah.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah. cooking some hamburgers.
That must have been scary as you know what. That's
It
incredible.
went up in a second, and there's nothing I could have done. Now I just do the old Yosemite Sam.
Wow. Wow. So listen, for the folks that don't know of you, you and I met in Cancun at the Illuminati Mastermind. You struck me as a bit of a Buddha at the time. You were just calm, cool, collected, full of wisdom the entire time. So I wanted to have you on the podcast, tell people about you, your story, your SOPs, your mastermind, all the different things. But I'm never going to do you justice by doing an intro. So if you could just spend a minute or two in telling the group, the audience, about your background, your history, that'd be great.
Sure. Now, when it comes to business, I'm a mutt. I am all over. I'm a mixed breed. So I started out probably 1993 doing e-commerce. So I started in the promotions industry, but one of my clients wanted to build an e-commerce site. So 1993, I'm a granddaddy when it comes to e-commerce. I've been involved with contract manufacturing. Our family's owned 2 factories in China. Got involved with specialty manufacturing, specialty packaging manufacturing. Been doing some sourcing in China, have a sourcing company. So we have agents over there. Been involved with just a bunch of different things. But what's happened is all these little skills and all these little businesses I've been into all came down to focus on one thing, and that's Amazon. So everything that you need, SOPs, corporate branding, specialty packaging, it's all right there. So when Amazon came around, I kind of flourished.
Yeah, and at the event in Cancun, sounds glamorous. It wasn't. We were inside the whole day. We actually lost air conditioning for a few hours.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
It was great though, but at that event, it was all Amazon, but a lot of folks talked about taking products off of Amazon as well. You and I have talked about that too. Can you tell us what businesses you currently run, and what are your operations like? Do you run them in-house? You got a beautiful background there. Is that your office there, Tropical Island? Or do you have VAs? What's your situation work-wise?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the things, when I first started getting back into e-commerce, like I took a bit of a break for about a year, and I was doing a few other things. But when I started to get back into it, I could do it myself. But why do it yourself? When you started to get more and more and more involved, not only did I want to take some time off, I wanted to be able to grow, like scale and automate everything. So I started hiring people. Right now, I have my own brands. So there's one section of the company that is just brands. The other section of the company is managed solution provider. So what we'll do is we'll help people that are trying to get onto Amazon, or brands that are on Amazon now and they just want to grow. And that takes, it took a little bit of adjusting. But what I did is I took some concepts that, people have been using for years and just kind of modified them. So SOPs. We've got 39 people working with us right now. Every single thing that I do, I write a process for. I write a procedure for. And what that helps me do is I can relax. Like I can go and meet with you. Matter of fact, I do have people that take training for me. So when I see a really cool course, I can't be everything, but my guys have to be everything. They have to be experts. So if I see a social media course, I don't take it. I hire somebody to take it. They summarize everything for me. I get it. I see the notes. And if we want to implement it, then we create a SOP for it. So everything from checking my email to making a cup of coffee, we have a process for. I literally have a process for making coffee. Yes.
I do too. It's called Keurig. You put the little cup in there and you squeeze it. I'm not that complicated. Literally, though, you have 39. Are they remote employees? Are they VAs? Are they people in-house? What are they?
Most are remote. There's a lot of, I don't need a lot of full-time employees. I've got 4 or 5 that are my project managers, and they're key. But everybody else are specialists in the industry. What I don't recommend is you go out and just get a VA that can do everything. Then you're just going to get a vanilla model VA who's not good at anything. You can train and you can train and you can train. I want to hire somebody that's smarter than me. So if I have to tell them, oh, this is how you do a PPC campaign or a sponsored ad campaign on Amazon, I don't want them to give me back something that I already know. I want them to go out, figure it out, do it better. And then that's the person I'm using. They're specializing in sponsored ads, headline ads, Amazon giveaways, lightning deals. They know how to do it, and they know how to do it incredibly well.
Okay, so you've got 30 plus or minus VAs, and your number one tip is hire an expert. Don't hire a generalist. Find somebody that's smarter than you and an expert at whatever it is you're looking for.
Yeah, and don't be cheap.
Don't be cheap.
You know, like I hear a lot of podcasts where, I get somebody in the Philippines for $2 an hour.
Yeah.
Well, they don't realize that person in the Philippines at $2 an hour, if somebody comes in at $2.10, they're going to be working for them for that day, and they're going to have a mysterious family member with some illness come down, so they can't work with you. So what I try to do, and this is just a hiring practice, you know, we try to build loyalty. And building the SOPs helps build a corporate culture. People know exactly what to expect from the company, from me, from other people. And one of the things is I want loyalty, but I don't demand loyalty. I earn it. And the way to do it is you treat people with respect. You don't, first of all, if somebody needs to be trained, if they're not being trained well, if they're making mistakes, I'm not screaming and yelling. It's a learning experience. We got to get through this. What didn't you understand? Tell me how you would improve it. The other thing is I pay extremely well. If somebody is $3 an hour or $4 an hour, I'll go $6 an hour or $5 an hour. When they do something right, I bonus them out, you know, and it doesn't take a lot, especially people in the Philippines. It's a different culture, and they want to do it right. But if you don't have the training and the processes in place to do it, it's not going to happen. And what's going to happen, you're going to get really frustrated, and you're going to let the person go. And this is really cool. There's a book that changed my life on this, and it's called The E-Myth by Peter Gerber. And basically what he was saying, and every entrepreneur falls into this category, they have enthusiasm, they have passion, they want to go out and they want to sell a product. They get to that point where they're building relationships, and they can do it, and they can do it better than anybody. But at some point, somebody's got to order the product. Somebody's got to make the coffee. So they give all these tasks to somebody, usually with lack of training. So what ends up happening is your sales are up here, and then all of a sudden you get mad because you didn't train the person properly and they made a mistake. So you get rid of them, take it back because only you can do it. You're the guy that can do it the best. You build it up, and it's called a sales roller coaster. And those type of entrepreneurs, and there's so many out there, will never get to where they should be because they don't train. And if you can just take 5 minutes, sit back and think, what is it that they need to know to do their job better? And you put the checks and balances in place where they can't make those mistakes. And if they do, you don't overtrain a puppy. These people aren't there to be abused. They have to be treated with respect on their birthdays, birthday cards, gifts. If I can, I try to bring people out to conferences. I'll pay for their education. Like, part of our process is that if you're working full time with me, I don't care what the course is, I pay 5 hours a week in training.
That's impressive. Let's add some credibility to that, because you're paying 40-50% higher than the average probably entrepreneur. Yeah. And you're paying for their training. What kind of numbers are you doing on Amazon? Let's just talk about that for a brief second, and then I want to go into where you find the VAs.
Well, we are doing on, well, it depends if I get suspended or not.
I heard about suspension recently.
But we do around $750 to $1.2 a month.
Okay, so you're 12 to 15 million a year in revenue.
Yeah.
And how long have you been on Amazon selling and at this level?
I started with a buddy of mine 2.5 years ago. This level, probably about 1.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're targeting. We want to and again, this is with the SOPs. We're targeting to double our size this year. So that's the only reason and the only way I can is with SOPs.
I agree 1,000,000%. Just to toot my own horn for a minute here. I was at a presentation at the Rhodium weekend. I saw a gentleman do a presentation on SOPs, and that's why you and I connected in regards to this podcast. But I'm putting in place things in places. I did 7 or 8 videos yesterday on simple tasks that are simple to me because I've been at this for 5 years. But we've got a new broker that's got a lifetime of entrepreneurial experience, but he didn't know the quiet light way. So I had to do the SOPs on that. Okay. Impressive numbers, really, really impressive numbers, plus 30 VAs. And I understand how you can afford to pay them a little bit more. Did you start paying them a little bit more after you started making some money, or did you try doing it right away?
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yeah. And there's one guy that I hired, and I couldn't hire him. He was very happy getting the wage that he was hired. He was an MBA. He was out of somewhere in Africa, and I got him on Upwork. Okay. And he's 68 cents an hour.
Holy cow.
And he was writing blog articles for me, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't press the button to say, hey, it's 68 cents an hour. I got him to $1.50. The guy was like basically crying on the phone because it was so, and then I gave him like a $20 bonus. I think after 2 weeks, because he was doing a really great job. And oh my gosh, like the guy just, he is loyal for life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But right off the bat, you want to establish that, like those guys that you're hiring, their families are counting on you. And if you can give them security right off the bat, go for it. Like sometimes, and I don't recommend this, but like I take snapshots of their speed tests on their computer. Because if their computer's if they got a 10-year-old computer, then it's no good to me. And if they really impress me, I'll go and get them a computer so they can have a fast connection. I'll pay for their internet connection to upgrade them from low speed to a higher speed. Wow. So these are things that you do that might cost you a little bit. Okay, so they get a new computer, big deal. It might cost me a few $100, but guess what? Now they are. And the other thing is you have to keep your composure. That you're talking to a different person in a different country. They have different, it just everything about it is different. They might speak English, but it's a different culture.
And let's talk about where you're finding the VAs. You mentioned Upwork before. I've had some folks talk about FreeUp. Where are you finding them for the most part?
Okay. Oh gosh, Online Jobs is going to hate me for this. What I tried to do is I tried to figure out, okay, if I needed to get somebody with really great experience and we're hiring at a rapid rate, what do I do? So I hired the onlinejobs.ph recruiting manager.
Okay. So you hired somebody that was an expert in hiring VAs.
Right. Brilliant. So I hired her. She's on full time. She does a lot of my policies and procedures now, and she does a lot of the screening. So we do interviews. She takes care of the first 2 interviews. I come in for the final interview, and then we get them on board. And I don't care. This could be just for a very minor part-time. Like we have people that specialize in presentations. So, and the one that I have, incredible. I found this person on FreeUp, by the way. So, going back to the question, sorry, I got off topic, but the ones that I use when I don't have my own person, or if I need somebody in a pinch, I go to FreeUp, FREEE up.com. Beautiful part about them is their system, they vet the person for you. So if you're looking for somebody very specific, they'll get it for you. Upwork, that's another one that I use. It used to be Odesk, and what I'm finding is you're overpaying a lot of the times on Upwork, and they're not you have to go through a ton of people on Upwork to get a good person. That's at least what I found, to keep up to our standards. If somebody says they're an expert in Photoshop, well, you got to really define what an expert is, because most of the people, especially in the Philippines, they take Photoshop in high school, and now they're an expert. Well,
more so than the average here that doesn't do it at all.
Right.
So when you bring somebody on, what is the first step in training them for a specific task? Do you have other VAs that do the SOPs and teach them, or do you have the policies yourself that you do?
It's a bit of both. So first of all, I want them to feel comfortable. So I'll be talking to them. I'll be training them on the first, the main things. Like they have to get set up, and that's done separately. I'll send them an email. They have to get a remote desktop. There's a bunch of onboarding.
What's the remote desktop? What is it that you're doing with them on the remote desktop?
Okay. For Amazon, we want to every client that we have, or every VA that we have, we create a remote desktop. This is their way of connecting with an IP address that's in the U.S. So it's not going to flag the account. It's not going to look suspicious. We're going to log in, and we're going to constantly log in. Even for myself, if I go to Mexico and Cancun at the Illuminati, I'm logging in with an IP address from a remote desktop, because what can happen is, first of all, when you start logging in from all these mysterious IPs, there's a problem. Secondly, if you're at a huge conference and everybody's going in, if you hear some guru saying something, and everybody logs into Amazon and starts changing things on the spot, 3,000 people log in, Amazon's going, what the heck's going on? And you can get suspended, or you can have a suppression. But I've heard a lot of people that have actually been suspended while they're at conferences because everybody's hacked or logging in.
So you're talking about a VPN, VPS, pure VPN, or something like that?
VPS.
$10 a month, something like that.
Yeah, and no, I don't get an affiliate for any of this, but what I found is a really great VPS company is Green Cloud VPS. And what I do is I get their budget VPS. They have 3. I get the middle one, and it's great. So you get their service, and then you download Microsoft Remote Desktop, which we have an SOP on, and you just load it up, and it's like working from your own desktop.
Okay. All right. So when you initially work with them, you try to interact with them quite a bit. How do you get to the point where you're doing an SOP or teaching them what you want them to do? They're an expert on something. How do you give them the assignments or give them the tasks?
Okay. We work with a project management tool called Teamwork, teamwork.com. So first is they've got to get set up. They log in. We log in together. There are training videos that show them how to set up tasks and how to put it all together. But we'll go through, walk them through it. Just go through some dummy tasks, and then let's say it's PPC. We'll show them, because all of our tasks, all of our SOPs are in Teamwork, so they can go in, they can see how to use it, how to communicate within the Teamwork interface. How to chat, how to attach files, how to attach files into our Google Drive. There's different tools that we use. So we have to get them up to speed on that. If they can't communicate and they can't use our communication tools, then they're never going to be able to do the task properly. Once that's done, and I try to do that myself, but then once that's done, we figure out what their roles, what their strengths are. Why hire somebody that's no good in a certain area? Like, let's say they're terrible with lightning deals, or they're afraid of messing up on PPC. Okay, move on to somebody else. Get somebody else that's good at that, rather than trying to train somebody who's already nervous about it. They'll say they'll do it because they want to please you, but that's not their bag. So one of the things that we try to bring out in their interview is, what really is your strengths? What are your strengths, and what are your fears? And a lot of the times when you're interviewing them, when they're telling you this, they don't want to tell you, but you've got to try to bring it out and let them know, look, this is what we're trying to do is customize the job for you. And once they get on that, then what'll end up happening, let's say it's a PPC. We'll train them on the PPC SOPs. They'll watch the training videos. Like, they have to watch the training videos to go to the next step. And then they take a look at the SOPs. They watch the training video. They go to the next step. I mean, it is step by step. You can't go wrong.
Okay, so that's all on Teamwork. What other tools do you find effective?
Okay, so if I come down, first thing I do, I log onto my computer. I use Camtasia is always on.
Yeah.
Snagit is always on. And anything, if I'm doing anything that requires a repeat, anything at all, I'm starting to record. I'm working with the video. I'm trying to explain as I'm going and doing it, and then I'll save it to Google Drive, and then I'll give it to whoever. Another one that I just found, and it's on AppSumo. So I don't know if a lot of people have gone to AppSumo to check out their specials, but AppSumo, they have these incredible deals. And one of the deals, I loaded it up this week. It's called Step Shot Guides.
Step Shot Guides.
Yeah. Now it's in beta, I think. There's a little bit buggy, but what a concept. So what you do is you load it up just like you would Camtasia or Snagit, and it follows your mouse. So as you go through a process and let's say you're setting up a giveaway, every time you move your mouse across the screen, it takes a snapshot and then it tells you to put in a title. And then you can literally do this as you go. It saves a ton of time. The issue, though, right now is it's fairly new and it's a little bit buggy. But I talked to the developer, and they're working on improving this all the time. So I think this is going to be a fantastic app for SOPs. Now, another one that I can recommend, we've gone kind of beyond this point now, but Sweet Process, SWEET process. It allows you to go in, create a policy and procedure, add videos, do everything you need, and it's all there. So if you have a small team, it's great because it's per license. When you start looking at 39 or 49, or you're bringing in your customers to take a look, because we have SOPs for our customers, it got to be it was a goal. I unleashed my pockets. And I couldn't do that anymore. So now we went to teamwork, which is a lot more effective.
What do you mean you unleashed your pockets? What?
45. Well, it was $45 a licensing for licensing per person times 39 plus the clients. I'm going broke. You know what? We were talking just before we got on the podcast. That's what turned the beard gray. Spending money.
I have the feeling there's a number of people that are listening right now that would have an issue with you saying you're going broke, given the revenue you're doing every month. But hey, that's for them to decide and for you to argue otherwise.
Yeah, and then there's the other side. Is there any profit in it? That's the other thing. So
right, it's not about the top line revenue numbers, right? It's about the bottom line numbers. How often do you review your discretionary earnings or your bottom line numbers and your cost of goods sold and things of that nature?
We're forced to do it with our clients. So we're producing reports for them all the time. But for us, I outsource my accounting and we go through it once a month.
Gotcha. Let's step, if we could, just briefly to, you've given some great tools, and to anybody listening, we'll make sure that links are available to all of these tools that you mentioned, which is great. You've got your clients, and then you've got your e-commerce businesses. I know you've got a great e-commerce business. You sell both on and off Amazon, I believe.
Yes.
To be clear, you are an expert in e-commerce and Amazon, but now you're doing that for your own products, but you're also helping others through, for the lack of a better term, an agency, so to speak, where you're bringing on clients to help them grow their Amazon and e-commerce businesses?
Yeah, we call it managed service provider. Like what we're doing is we're taking people, and it happened. This is how it happened. So there was a doctor at a conference who was going absolutely crazy, had a great product. We were just chatting. And this is why you got to go to conferences, right? Because you network and you get to know all these really incredible people. But the guy was struggling because he was a doctor. He didn't want to do this. He just wanted to beat the S&P. So when I heard this, I kind of said, oh, there's an opportunity. Talked to him and said, look, I do this. I do this all day long. And so he ended up giving me some money, and I created brands, and I created a store. And what's important, Joe, we're not talking about Amazon here. We're talking about a business. Right. And so any business to have one client, Amazon, that's a one-legged stool. And you're dead.
Eventually, yes.
Eventually.
We talk about the 4 pillars to a sellable business, transferable business. Number one is risk. And it's the age of the business and that one-legged stool. If you're doing the same amount of revenue on an Amazon business that you are on a combined Amazon, eBay, Jet, Walmart, and your Shopify store, that combined business, even though the discretionary earnings are the same, if everything else was equal, it's worth 15 to 20% more in value because of the lower risk.
Right.
We're willing to spend more, for sure. Hey, are you taking on new clients in the managed services business?
Yeah, we do take on new clients, but we really want to, I hate to say it, but there's so many people out there that they're like inventors. They're in love with their product, but their product's not in love with them. And I'm the guy that has to break the bad news to them. Yeah. So I'll give them free pointers, but there's so many people that we do turn away. Like I'm looking at, like you do, when you're selling a business, you're looking at numbers. First of all, I want to have somebody that I like working with. Secondly, is the product good? So if it's not good, can we go in? Can we change the packaging? Can we change the, what can we do? The profit. I've had guys that come on and they're making 35 cents on something, and like, how do you survive on Amazon? Because they don't realize all the fees. Yeah. They think, oh, I'll put it up for 25 cents, or 25%, and they have PPC costs. They have all these other costs. If you're the way that I try to work with the clients, like just to figure out the profit, is like do 4 times. If you can sell it on Amazon, do a Brady Bunch, put all your competitors around there. If you can be competitive with your price 3 to 4 times, then you're good on Amazon. If you're trying to do it 2 times, you're going to die. And I want to be really specific too. When I'm talking about Amazon, you're dead. You're not dead if you diversify. Because if you have multiple clients or multiple customers, products, that's what I'm trying to say, yeah, then you're safe. But like I know a guy just a few weeks ago with the spinners. He had a container load of spinners, put all his money into these spinners, and then Amazon banned the certain type of spinner that he had. Done.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem. Yeah, the best businesses that we see that do well and grow are those that are continually adding new SKUs.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be a home run every time.
No.
Again, it goes to risk. Most buyers would rather look at a business that has 20 SKUs that are all base hits than 2 SKUs that are both home runs.
Right.
Because the home runs, they don't last. Right.
And then for you, if you're looking at a business and they see that you have a business that's strictly on Amazon, and they might have multiple products, but you're looking at it like one-legged stool. If you've got on Walmart or Jet or some e-tailer like Chewy, if you're in the pet business, and then they've got an e-commerce business, then that's so much less risk. Yes, Amazon's probably your biggest player out there, but if you work with Amazon properly, you can drive tons of traffic over to your e-commerce site, build your own customer base, build your own asset. That's
the big boy business right there, is what we call it. That's right. Yeah. That's being grown up. That's what gave you and me gray hair. But listen, you talk about conferences and meeting people. You and I met at a conference. A lot of folks, I never had to travel. In my previous, prior life, I never had to travel to conferences or anything like that. Maybe once or twice every few years. Now people are going all the time. And I think it's great because there's so much new information and so much relationship building where people can help each other and guide each other. Can you talk briefly? I know this wasn't on our sort of to-do list today, but what conferences do you go to? What do you like? What are your favorites? And what do you get the most out of as an e-commerce business owner?
Well, I go to a lot of conferences. I'm always on the road on conferences. The main ones, I came through the ASM model with Matt and Jason, yeah, and I think they have an incredible model. I go to if they have a major event, I'm there. The Illuminati, incredible. I would say this is more for advanced selling, strategies and tactics. I'm there. Then there's all sorts of other ones because you're talking about Amazon, but there's e-com. I go to domain conferences. And I've got a lot of business from domain conferences because e-commerce people buy domains. They're there. So it's great for me. But I do a lot of masterminds. Like I have tonight, I have a Toronto ASM mastermind. I go there every month on the dot. I'm always there, always learning. But some of the tricks, like there are these groups all over. Prosper Show, that's a good one. I love that one, by the way, because it's they have 4 or 5 people up there, competitors, and they're telling you, the tips and tricks, and then they're telling you, why go to that competitor, why go to them. Yeah. But what I like about conferences and what I don't like about conferences, there's a lot of people there. You don't go there for business. You go there to network and to get to know people. everything else kind of falls out later on. If somebody comes up to me, I don't care that they did $1 million a year. I don't care. Don't start talking to me about your numbers, and then don't start asking me for help. I want to know how I can help them. And when you start off a conversation that way, what can I do for you? And not ask for it. Like, I'm not looking for money. Like, anybody that contacts me after this and they're looking for some, quick advice, I answer every single email. Yeah, sure. Just take a look at your title, blah, 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 blah. Don't go asking, go to share. And that's going to make a big difference. What will end up happening is you'll build loyalty, you'll build trust, just like those workers. You've got to be able to do that. If you go there and it's all about me, you come across as me.
Yeah, no, it's corny, but we always say we're here to help. And I honestly feel that way. If I can help somebody, I had somebody that I met at a conference last spring, and we met on the car ride back to the airport, talked a little bit. He's in a different business. It was just a brief conversation. He sent me a note the other day. His wife filed for divorce. She's trying to inflate the value of the e-commerce business, and he's asking me just do a real valuation. It's a favor. He's saying, Joe, I'll pay you, but it's a favor. I'm just trying to help him in a tough situation. And you're sharing expertise and sharing information because that's what helps everybody grow. I'm with you 100%. So mastermind groups are something that didn't exist when I ran my business. I sold it in 2010, as we've talked about. They didn't exist.
Yeah.
It was tough. The conferences didn't exist. The masterminds didn't exist. What masterminds do you like? And I think, are you starting a mastermind? Have you started one? Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, we did. So I say I've got a partner in this. His name's Dave Kettner, another amazing guy. He's an Amazon seller. He's very good with PPC. He's just overall a really great e-commerce guy. And we met in Mexico, same conference.
Oh, he was at Illuminati in Mexico?
Yeah, Dave Kettner.
I didn't
well, you got him.
There were only 75 people there. I should have met every one of them.
Yeah, no, and he, months later, we just got on a call, and we're talking about helping people.
Yeah.
And so I said, yeah, this is happening, and anyways, same mindset. And what we came up with was a really unique concept, a really unique concept, and it's about group mentoring. So if somebody wanted to, get involved with our coaching or my consulting company, it's expensive, but I get results. What I can do, there's so many guys that are on the border of making it or losing it. All they need is a little push and understanding, which you don't get with a lot of the larger courses that you take. It's that fine tuning. So we sit there and we've got this, it's literally a group mentoring platform. Everybody is on video, believe it or not. Right now, it's a small group. We've got 33 people. We've committed that we're going to keep it small, and we'll open a second one, the same concept, because everybody's there. We're all talking, and it's from newbie to $1 million a month sellers. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll rip through listings. We bring on specialty speakers, so people that are experts in their business. And all it is a mentoring program it's around $300 a month. It's $297. There's 3 calls. So there's 2 of those calls are 3 hours. We do just a ton of questions and answers. And
those calls are all on video, so people are recording the screens. It's all shared, saved, so they go back and look at it again.
Yep. And if we're doing, let's say we just did something on the Amazon sponsored ad catch-all that was working for us. So we wrote a SOP and we threw it up there. And now people have access to these SOPs that we also provide in the training. So not only do they have the training, but twice a year, we do specialty over-the-shoulder events where it's just 3 days of us building up your listing. And this is extra, but it's literally over-the-shoulder training with 4 people.
Okay, you're literally looking over the shoulder, helping them with their specific listings and e-commerce business in general.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And how do people find out about that particular mastermind group if they want to get involved? I
will send you the link, but it's AMZ and Beyond. and you can just go to the Facebook group, but I'll send you a link to a page where they can sign up.
Okay, we'll make it part of the link list down below. Listen, we're unfortunately running out of time here. I think we talked a bit much at the beginning about our beards too much. Mine's hardly a beard compared to yours. Let's just the way it is. We will definitely share all the links for anybody listening or watching. I truly appreciate that you spent the time coming on today. It's amazing to me how much you get done with 30 to 35 employees, all of the conferences that you go to. It seems like you're going to one a month. You're starting this mastermind. You've got companies where you're helping other people. It's really incredible. And I think it comes down to your SOPs. Would you agree?
100%.
100%. You're married, you got kids, you got a real life. This isn't what you do 24 hours a day, right? You got other things.
23.
Well, it's awesome. Listen, Norm, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you helping the people that are listening. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Hey, thanks a lot, Joe.
All right, man. Talk to you soon.